Hello, Mark Red Larsen here for the Dreamcatcher podcast. Thanks for joining me. Today, going to be just kind of a little bit of everything. So, got my coffee. Actually, I was just on Warren Jones's new podcast. I was the episode number two. I enjoyed that very much. I commend Warren for taking action and starting a podcast. He's very much a natural. I was not that way at episode number two, and I'm glad he took the action. So I'm just going to sit back and he asked me some really awesome questions, Warren did in his podcast. What I'm being 63 right now, what I would tell my younger self, like when I was 23. And it was a very good question. And I think the one thing that I would tell, number one, is what you want, do it now. Don't put it off. Don't ever put it off. Do what you truly want. Don't do the adult thing, the responsible thing. Yeah, we all have to, make a living. That's the way our world culture is set up. But no, do it today. I always hear these people. It's like when I retire, I'm going to, when I'm older, I'm going to do this. When I'm healthy, when I have the money, when I have all these reasons why they can't do something right now. And I'm here to tell you that life can happen and you won't ever get to do those things. And Cheryl and I know that all too well. And I wish I'd had that mindset then. I went, like I told him, I got two college degrees, business and geography. I was going to teach the world where everything was at. Um, and what a business degree got me, I was doing the responsible thing. I mean, I was on the dean's list basically all my college career. Um, it got me a pretty good job down in the Dallas area, being restaurant management. But it was like 100-hour weeks, and is like there was no time to do your dreams. It was no time to do anything except for work and get moved around. I don't think they were all promotions. In fact, I got my own store in Columbia, Missouri. Left Columbia, Missouri. Didn't get much time to go see it. Um, and then after that, because I didn't stay there very long, it's like this is not worth my life. And then I went and got. I was part of a shoe store of all things in Omaha, Nebraska, and I just if I'd had the mindset to do my dreams, and I'm not for sure we know our dreams when we're younger, but I knew it wasn't those things, so I must have had some idea what I wanted to be. And at that time, I was just kind of coming into my own about speaking. You know, like I was telling Warren, I was very, very quiet in high school and school in general. It wasn't until college that I kind of started gaining my voice. But it wasn't until a lot later that I really am as comfortable as I am now using my voice to talk on podcasts, on Facebook Lives, wherever it is. Haven't done stages yet. Like I told him, I would probably be um I don't know. Maybe once I got up there, I'm sure I would be at home. But the leading up to it would be intimidating. But, going back to what I would tell my 23-year-old self, um, that money is always gonna be, it's always gonna be there's gonna be times where you struggle, but you will find ways, like when Cheryl had her illnesses and numerous other things that have gone on in our lives, you always find a way to get money for that kind of thing, because, what I say, Cheryl's life or if it would have been my life. And, you need to make your dreams, what you want to do in life, as serious as that because it is a serious. And and I tell people that the people of the world are waiting for your voice, your what you have to offer, the dreams that you were given to you that God wanted you to bring to fruition while you're here on this earth. And but if you wait to I see this one of the saddest things I see is people waiting and then they get an illness or something happens and they're not able to have lived any truly of their dream life. I mean, it's not a life wasted, but it's so much potential that could have come and all the people that could have had your positive influence that have made the world a better place. But they keep you they keep you right now, especially I think in the United States and maybe other parts of the world, they keep you working so hard that you're not able to even think about your dreams because you're in survival mode. And and I think that is criminal actually. And I truly believe it's by design. But you have to say, "No, I'm not gonna do that," even in that situation, because you're just most of these people are just, if not making enough money to basically survive, maybe get to the next hour or next day, and if you're that way, you might as well go for your dream. Um, they're both scary because, your dream's gonna be probably scary because 'cause it'll be probably doing something you've never done before, but what's more scary? You are working 3 or 4 jobs, whatever, and you're just barely making ends meet. One thing happens and you're done, you might as well go for the other because that's living on the edge and not a good edge, and, but but yeah, going back to, like I said, do what you wanna do right away. Forget all the noise, and there's a lot of noise at that age. It's like, so what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do when you grow up? And I always ask people, in this podcast, what were your dreams? But I don't ask what you're gonna do when you're gonna grow up because it's usually we always say the responsible thing. I mean, I was very much that way. I went to school, I did everything I was supposed to, and I'm thankful because it got me to today doing this podcast with you. And but the responsible thing that gets you kind of maybe at best a mediocre life. Yeah, you might pay all your bills and all this stuff, and you might have a little bit of stuff saved for retirement. And oh, I can't wait till I get on Social Security. I can actually maybe travel. I can tell you because actually I took Social Security at 62. Cheryl's older; she's got the everything with Social Security. It's great, but it's not a lot of money because what they don't tell you at 65, you've got Medicare, I should say, and then your supplemental come out of there. And I think Cheryl right now is taking 300 and some dollars out of her Social Security benefit to pay for that. Didn't know any of that. That's why I'm glad I took it at 62 because then up to 62 to 65, I get all of my Social Security benefit. So a little bit of wisdom there. And I would tell my 23-year-old that too. He'd probably think, what? Um, but yeah, there are pluses to being my age. Like I've said before, I don't really have aches and pains very often. And the wisdom that I can share back to you from what I have learned. Another thing that I've learned, and I would tell my 23-year-old self, is everybody's going through something. Nobody gets out of this world unscathed. Everybody's got trials and tribulations. There's nothing. Even some people hide it so well. And some people have less trials and tribulations than others, but they're going through something. And people I admire people who are always upbeat because I know they have something they're probably going through. And whether it's not having enough money to pay the rent, not having enough money to go to the doctor, not having enough money to pay, to have your teeth fixed, the aches and pains that you put up with day in and day out to get what you want to need to do, and still be in a great mood. I think we all have that stuff that we don't let the world see because it's not really it's looked kind of frowned on. It's just like, just buck up, just do it. Don't be whiny. Um and it's terrible because we should have compassion for that. Compassion enough that it doesn't keep you stuck in that. I mean, I wish I'd have known that, everybody's going through I thought a lot of the stuff I was going through when I was younger, I was the only one that was going through that. Not even close. And the stuff that Cheryl and I've gone through in the last no, it's been quite a few years now. I mean, the system is made to set up to have you fail, especially if you get sick, because the healthcare system in this country is terrible. Not saying the doctors are. I feel for like I've said before, the doctors I feel sorry for that they have to deal with it. But where insurance is now telling you whether you can have a procedure or not is wrong, 100% wrong. And so, but yeah, I admire that people can actually go through the things that we're all going through, that we're dealing with. Um, it, it, it's it it it's just I always like I've said. and this podcast is I have learned when you go through those trials and tribulations, that is strength training. I used to look at it very negatively. Now we look at it as a positive because it's like, if I can get through that, what else can I get through? And you get to the point where, bring it on. And I don't want to say bring it on because I don't want any more. But if it shows up, it's like, I'll handle it. I don't know sometimes how I will handle it, but we're all in this together. And that is something that I wish that I had would tell my 23-year-old self, have more compassion and love people. It's like, especially guys, it's like they look at it as like, oh, this guy's gay, or there's something, he shows too much emotion, a hugger. And who cares? Um, if you have emotions and you want to give somebody a hug, do it. Just show emotion. It's not a weakness. It's actually, for a guy to show emotion, is a strength. It takes a truly, in today's world, which I believe it is better than it used to be, to show that kind of emotion. They think you're weak. Yeah, it is anything but. It is a strength to show emotion, even in today's world, for a guy. Um, and it's definitely not a weakness. But and I would tell my 23-year-old self, it's like, this education is good, but it probably is not going to get you your dream. It is a stepping stone. I could do. I mean, I loved the connections I made in college, but I could have been done probably most of it without that college education. And I think that today's kids are working after that, where, especially with today's world, where you can get stuff, the education online. Um, I didn't have that luxury, but you can be anything. And that's another thing I would tell my 23-year-old self. You can be anything you want to be. I mean, and I don't care, male, female, whatever. You can be whatever. You just got to believe. And that is another thing. I have things that say believe all over this house. I should actually have it in here too. But you have to believe. You have to believe that something's possible. Everything's possible. Even the word, it says I'm possible. Impossible is, it says I'm possible. And it is. Who would think that I'd be doing a podcast coming up on 400 episodes, talking to you, um, around the world? Um, Never saw it coming, but it was not something that was actually around when I was younger. But I'm so glad the technology is. I wouldn't have had that podcast just a little bit ago with Warren over in England. Um, in Europe. It's just, I do them all over the world, and it's like, who would have thought the technology? And actually, like I was talking, I had coffee with my dad. Cheryl and I had coffee with my dad, and he just bought a new Tesla, and he's always liked technology. And that car he got the package where it can drive itself. He uses it. So, I don't know if I trust technology that well, but he does, and he's enjoying it. I mean, he said, you can have different levels, like on the interstate, and when he says, when you get aggressive, he said it's much more aggressive than he would ever be. But I mean, who would have thought that would have been possible, back when I was just getting out of college? The world is so positive, but they put so many negativity things out there to control people. Giddy people are easy to control. They're easy to control by keeping you working 3 or 4 jobs, with the medical system, where you have to worry about paying $100,000 for a thing that should be probably 20. A shot that should be a few dollars is 1,000. When they have these unrelenting bills, they know you'll be dealing with that. So there's no way this person's ever going to be able to rock the boat. And the thing is, this is actually a medium here, with your phone. I mean, I tell people, you don't need the studio. You need the phone. You need a mic. Um, Probably a laptop or computer, some type of computer, but you can do it on your phone. And it's so reasonable to do this and get your voice out there and what you're really thinking. And because we all have that voice. And like I say, everybody's waiting for your voice. God put God gave you that voice for a reason. And don't dismiss yourself. I dismiss myself as just being another person that got out of college. I did well. I did what I was supposed to do. Um, which was it was good. I've had a blessed life. I hope I have a lot of years left, but only God knows that. And that's another thing. I had a connection with God then, but nothing like I have now. God directs my path every day. God, he's awesome. He is very he works in mysterious ways. Oh yes. But I never had anything, and God is real. Oh my gosh. God is not, he talks to me, not like this, but he is very real and he crosses my paths daily with amazing people. And Blue Moon, where I do this podcast a lot, he's been having a lot of people cross my path there that are from the Berean Church in Hastings, Nebraska, who are awesome. From Comrade, I mean, there's just just amazing people. I told the gal who is the manager there, I think the God uses that coffee shop for a lot of connections, and and especially when I put it in the front window there. But you never know how God's going to work, and that is something that I don't know if I'd have been believing it or been able to believe it at 23 about my connection with God that I'd have at 63. Cheryl does not have it, but we all have our own journeys. I mean, Cheryl does believe in God, but just not, she doesn't hear from me, and she's frustrated on that. And sometimes I think that is maybe because is frustrated. Just let it go. God is, he'll talk to you in his time. But don't sweat don't sweat the small, don't sweat stuff. You know, uh, I have found out that if I just kind of a lot of times let it go, it takes care of itself better than I could ever have done it. Don't always think that you need to pop a pill. There's ways that you can take care of your health otherwise. Big fan of the pharmaceutical industry, especially in this country. I don't, except for one little antibiotic that I have to take half a pill once a week. I don't take medicine. I don't do aspirin. I don't do any of that stuff. And I don't trust the pharmaceutical industry in this country. I at one time did. Right now, I'd have problems trusting anything they say. And after COVID, I don't want to go negative, but I will never trust them again. I will always be apprehensive about what they bring out. It's kind of like crying wolf one too many times. And that was a big thing they did there. But whether you think that was what it is or it's my opinion, you're entitled to your opinion. Um, but, but yeah, when you get to my age, the world looks differently. I think it's great. I don't sweat the small things as much as I used to. I would lay awake being scared. It's like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? I still might be if I was going to be on stage the next day, uh, but or whatever it is. I mean, if I was doing a TED talk, I talked to a gentleman the other day, and it's like you have to basically have it all memorized and everything. But just like anything, it might suck the first couple of times or first few times. Who knows? But it's like anything. I've come so far from this on this podcast. And you need to be an action taker. Don't say I'm going to do this when you get to retirement. Don't say I'm going to travel the world then. Do it now. Do it now. And do the ripple of you being positively influencing the world because you are traveling the world. You're doing what most people dream about. People like to travel. And not everybody, but other people have other dreams. Write a book, do a podcast, open a restaurant. Um, I talked to a person the other day, that was their dream, is to do that, open a restaurant. Food truck. Food trucks are awesome, and I'm glad there's some people doing that dream. Um, but the dreams evolve too. Dreams don't always stay the same. The dream you had when you were a kid or even a young adult probably is not the same dream you're gonna have when you get older because you see the world differently, and, you don't think that when you're younger. You just think this is the way it's gonna be for the rest of my life. Life happens. It definitely can change in a split second. Um, Change your perspective, that's for sure. But, uh, but yeah, don't going back before I end the podcast, uh, when you're 23 or when you're beginning of your life, when you look at it from 40 years later, life's gonna look a lot different. Do your dreams, don't wait, believe in yourself. You can do anything. I mean, some of these people that are 100 running marathons and forget your age. I would also say that. That's one thing I would tell my 23-year-old, forget your age. Don't even, age should be not even relevant. It's just like, do it. Enjoy your day. And that is another thing Warren asked me. He's like, so why do you like what you do? And it's like, I get to live life on my terms. And sometimes I don't totally get to do that, but I get to live life way more than most people. And I'm blessed on that. And it's not that Cheryl and have a lot of money, because the medical system pretty much has taken most of that, and that makes us struggle a lot on paying bills because of that. And but it's a blessing because I can relate with the people going through that. And I wouldn't have always looked at it that way. I would have thought maybe it was a curse. It's not a curse. It costs six figures for all this. And but Cheryl is still here. And that's a blessing. And that's another way I have grown so much. I wouldn't have looked at it. I would have looked at it as very much a burden at 23. Um, but no, it was a gift because I get to see how those people struggle. I get to see how you get through those days. Um, no, everything, like I said, struggles are strength training, and you can relate back to the people going through it then, and can be a voice and show them the way. And that is the biggest gift you can be in this world. I believe that's truly what God wants us to do: show each other the way to get through trials and tribulations. Can you imagine a world if we all did that? I don't think it'd get any better than that. So, on that, I'm going to end the podcast right there. But just think, um, you're going to change so much if you're just in your 20s. By the time you get to your 60s, you're going to look at the world differently. And when you're in your 20s, don't wait. Do your dreams then, and make it non-negotiable. So on that, thank you for joining me on the Dreamcatcher podcast. I'm gonna have some of my coffee. Everybody take care and talk soon.